And hello everybody. I'm Richard Kong of Back to the podcast version. So I was a little bit nervous, which is fine. So I have just stumbled for when I'm speaking out that greeting phrase, or when I was speaking out that introductory phrase, and but not by the way. Anyway, so. I was so at first days before I was trying to create this episode, but actually I was extremely tired by then. Or on that date I planned to create this episode. So on the days before this time I tried to create this episode, but actually, on that planned date, I originally planned to create this episode. So I had been extremely tired. So which is why. So I couldn't create that episode, and I'm creating this episode and having the same title and the conclusion of this episode. And so the situation of this country is really lethal, or how should I say? Perilous. The situation is really perilous, or dangerous anyway. And which means, wait a moment please, I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. And the title of this episode is, the title of this episode of my podcast is Violence Solves Everything. And the conclusion is, this world is getting dangerous, and as you know, so what not wars everywhere, but actually, so this planet has, or this world has many places having wars. And for example, so the area between Russia and Ukraine, or in other words, there's an Ukrainian territory. So which was infringed or invaded in by Russian Federation. And another place is Sudan. And to start with, so in the case of Middle Eastern countries, there are many dangerous places. And in the case of East Asia, so the mainland China is trying to expand its own influence over the Pacific Ocean, and on the process of which, so the intervention coming from the mainland China against my country is, or in my country is surging. And including the launched missiles, including the launched satellite launched by North Korea. And North Korea is a subordinate country to the mainland China. And they are communist countries like Russian Federation. And I think that's such a worrying or such a dangerous situation is one of the causes why this world is getting dangerous. And in the case of this country, so how should I say? So the premonition of the Third World War were presentiment indicating the imminent huge war is that. So there's such a premonition or presentiment, and which is. So people are getting violent in this country, and this is the case to this country, and maybe in other places or in other countries, there may be some indications, or there may be some premonitions or presentiments, and which indicates the imminent huge war, or the Third World War. And so this is, of course, this is my speculation, but actually, so in the case of this country, so as I have told you, the title, which is Violence Solves Everything, and which is the general idea, which is the general idea in the minds of the general public of this country, which means, so the local people in this country began to find violence, an omnipotent tool or an omnipotent instrument for solving problems, and which is why people are getting violent, and remarkable examples are that so murders are increasing. The number of the murders are increasing. Well, the number of the violent crimes is increasing, and which is indication, which is a sign, that so the local people in this country are getting violent, or they are becoming violent, and which means so the local people in this country had been the local people in this country had been polite and had been kind, but actually they are now in this present time they are becoming dangerous. Not they are becoming, maybe in other words they can becoming in danger, or they are getting in danger of violences by other people, or to be committed by other people. But actually people are getting dangerous, or people are getting violent, which is why so people are getting in danger of getting inflicted on themselves by the streets of the violences, or by the violences which may be committed, or which may be exerted by other dangerous people. So which is the situation of this country. And so roughly saying, so if you live in this country, and if you are so-called foreigners in this country, and by the way, I live in Japan, and if you live in this country, or if you stay in this country, so I think you should leave this country, or you should get away from this country. So sightseeing. If you are tourist, you are fine, because you are not going to stay in this country for a long time. But actually, so if you are for example, if you are permanent residents, for example, and you should get away from this country, because so this is an extreme example, but actually which means that extreme example is that so the death of you, or your death which is possible, or your deaths using the plural form for the word death, which means so you can be killed, or you may be killed, or you may be murdered so harshly as to lose your own normal lives. You may get so some how should I say post symptoms, or some you may get inflicted some long-lasting disorders. So which if you are in this country, you are having such dangers every moment. You have such opportunities of getting attacked, and getting severe damages by other people. And you have such dangerous opportunities every moment. Well, you may be attacked, and the possibility is really high. Possibilities are really high every moment, which is the situation of this country. And I haven't been attacked by other people, and I haven't attacked other people. And as long as I know, and as long so as many acquaintances as I know, so nobody has been attacked, or I haven't heard of anybody who has been attacked recently. But actually, so people are getting violent. Maybe one of the causes is that so this country is facing the communist countries, and which means so this country is in danger of getting invaded by other communist countries, or getting attacked by other communist countries like North Korea and other Russia and China, and which is one of the reasons why people are getting violent in this country. And another reason is that so poor people, well, the number of the impoverished people is increasing. The number of the impoverished people in this country is increasing, and which is another reason why people are getting violent. And by the way, so the future of this country, and maybe this is a third reason, but actually, so the future of this country is really dark. And according to the latest broadcast, and by the way, so I'm creating this episode in the beginning of June in 2023, and according to the latest information about, according to the latest news about the fertility rate of this country, and the fertility rate is the lowest in the 17 years, not in the 70 years, but actually in the 17 years, 10 plus 7, and maybe the fertility rate is going to plunge in as the time passes in the future, and which is why so the future of this country is really dark or dim or dark or black. The color of the future of this country is black. So, and by the way, so I have already known that. So, which is why so I'm using English for creating contents. I have so people have given up. The local people in this country have already given up this country, including the future of this country. So maybe anyway. So how should I say? And the world, of course, as I have told you at the conclusion of this episode, the world is getting dangerous. So the world is becoming dangerous. But actually, in the case of this country, so there maybe every part of the world has their own or its own symptoms, and in the case of this country, so the number of the violent crimes increasing recently is one of the symptoms about this world getting dangerous. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I'm sorry for my complicated explanation. And I almost said I'm sorry, not I'm sorry. And because my mother tongue doesn't distinguish between L and R, or my mother tongue doesn't distinguish the difference between L and R. And anyway, so this world is getting dangerous. And in the case of this country, people cease to give birth to their offspring or their own children. People cease to have their own families or their own children. And another symptom is that the local people in this country, the local Japanese people in this country are becoming violent, and they began to frequently commit violent crimes, which is another symptom of this world which is getting dangerous. And so if you come to this country, so please be careful. Please be careful so much. And I'm going to end this episode. I'm going to end this episode. Wait a moment, please. The title of this episode is Violence Solves Everything. And the conclusion is, this world is getting dangerous. And so, anyway, so recently, or days before, North Korea launched a satellite, and which was a failed launch, and which turned out to be a failed attempt, or which turned out to be a failed project. But actually, the North Korea has a plan of launching another or a second satellite or second missile. So anyway, not North country, but North Korea may assault or may attack this country, and in which sense, the local people of this country may come to be able to understand the feelings or the perspectives of Ukrainian people. Particularly, they may be able to understand the situations of the Ukrainian people living in the eastern regions of Ukrainian soil. Anyway, so anyway, this country is in such a situation. So that's it. Thank you very much for everything. See you. And this is a correction. So I use the word but which is I use the word presentiment and having the similar meaning, or having the equivalent meaning to premonition, but actually, so I mistakenly pronounced as presentiment, but actually the correct pronunciation of presentiment is presentiment. The S is pronounced as Z, so I mistake, and the pronunciation I used is wrong, which is the pronunciation I mistakenly pronounced was presentiment, which is a mistake. So the correct pronunciation of presentiment is presentiment, which is the correct pronunciation of this word.